The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max wishes you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
What time is it?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Undisputed Era has arrived.
You have the 25 days of Christmas. Impact's going to have the 25 days of releases.
I send it you to deletion! Yeah!
It's hashtag Alpha versus Omega.
Let's just say hashtag aroused.
No, you're gonna step in that ring and you're gonna be looking at me eye to eye and you're gonna realize you ain't got a chance.
Thank God we don't have to talk about it anymore because she got that cancer out of there.
Sean stole my answer. I'm just glad we don't have to talk about this anymore.
And that's not an insult, that is just a fact of life.
Mixed match challenge.
You're going down, dude.
I'm going down?
Dude, I always win these kind of things.
Time out. I just want to see who you want to be partners with.
So
if you can have one person be your partner.
I mean, I kind of hear Finn's music now. He's kind of cute. And
Dude!
What? Dude?
I'm married!
I don't care! He has great abs.
Yeah, that's true.
So, maybe him.
Well, if I were to choose, I don't care about abs.
Okay, what do you care about?
Strength and victory.
Huh?
And I want it to be Samoa
Samoa
Joe.
Joe.
How'd you know? English, dude.
Hell yeah.
Alright, dude. Well, I can't wait to beat you.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the max.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughan, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leazar.
Welcome, everyone, to Wrestling to the Max episode 277, part 2, and we are brought to you by W2Mnet.com, the place where you go find all your great wrestling podcasts and a lot more. And hey, don't forget to go hit that subscribe button over there at Wrestling to the Max, because once you do, you get all of our great content in one great place, and that just helps you out. And don't forget to go hit that 5-star button when it comes to reviews, and also give us a comment or two. We appreciate all the feedback you can give us. Make sure you go give some big love to Formula1Mania.com and Last Word on ProWrestling.com. Also, those are great sites that you need to go check out, and they have some great wrestling articles that you guys can go and tune into and have a lot of fun there too. So we appreciate all their support. And also, the W2M Network is also a part of this process. So if you want to go join that, that's also another great way to not only get our content and our great wrestling stuff that we have to offer, but everything over there at the WTMnet.com family when it comes to podcasting. I am your host, Gary Vaughan, and along with me is Mr. Sean Garmer.
What's up, everybody?
And Mr. Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
And guys, really looking forward to a cool show because we got lots of cool stuff to talk about. We are going to jump into some Clash of Champions discussion because we got to predict it. That's right. We got to get down and dirty and figure out what we think is going to happen this weekend at Clash of Champions. We're also going to get into some big news in the world of wrestling news. We have lots of quick hits, some really interesting ones, some sad ones, and a lot of smaller promotions are seeming to thrive. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth. And also, we're talking about this week's Impact Wrestling. Yeah, that's right. We got a big one to talk about because there was some championship stuff going on in there over there in Impact Wrestling. So good stuff. And we're going to crown a Superstar of the Week. So we've got a full show ahead of you guys, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. But guys, before we jump into all this other cool stuff, I know we usually talk about ourselves and all that, but I want to start off by saying this. I want to give a big thank you out there to Brendan Biscobing. He helped us this week. Harry Broadhurst was sick and was able really just honestly unable to do the SmackDown Live review and the 205 Live review shows, and which, you know, we could have found a different, amount of us to kind of figure that out. But Brandon Bisco being stepped up and did a great job. Really appreciate him. It's really cool to see some of these other guys from the W2M network and, get a chance to do it. And he's, not used to hosting, but he did it, jumped in full force and really did a great job. So I want to throw a big thank you out to him and all that he helped us out with. So there you go. But guys, here we are, lots of stuff coming up here. Sean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening this weekend, of course, because we not only have Final Battle, we have Clash of Champions. It's going to be an interesting weekend for us, plus all the sports stuff we got to do too, man.
Yeah, I'll be watching a Star Wars tomorrow around noon. So that's what I will be doing. That also comes out tomorrow. That's another thing to add to this whole weekend here as well. And then I think we can't get out of this without talking about the terrible thing our government did today with repealing net neutrality, which could affect all of us here. It could affect how you listen to this podcast. So if we don't get put on the fast track, you might be hearing us in slow motion.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. That's a crazy thing, man. Oof. Yeah, but
Yes, tons of reactionary groups coming out. I think state governments are suing the FCC over it too. Like it's turned into a whole to-do now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and trust me, you don't mess with people's internet. So
it's true.
There will be.
They already mess with the internet, charging us. They already charge us way too much for the internet. Let's not make it a bigger deal than it already is.
That's true. What were you saying, Paul?
How am I supposed to get my memes if I had to pay more to get in the fast lane just to upload pictures?
Yeah.
That's true, man. And I'll say this, the federal government can mess with all sorts of stuff, but when they start messing with people's internet, especially the millennials, I fear an uprising.
There's going to be, you can bet your bottom dollar, there's going to be a lawsuit every time somebody tries to throw up a new charge for this or new rule for that. It's going to be hell for them to try to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's true. And I'm sure the cable companies are loving it because they can laugh and say, your streaming services now, ha, 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 So let's just hope.
Oh, yeah. I love Comcast saying, we will not do this, this, and this, whatever. The moment that ever becomes, where there's no more anybody can do and we just have to deal with it if it gets to that, which this still has to pass Congress and the judges, and there's already a probe going into not just the states suing the FCC, but that the FCC might get a probe from the Supreme Court as well. So this is not going to happen very quickly, and if we ever get to that point, it's just going to be hell all the time. It's I just hope that it just dies very quickly and they go, okay, this is one thing we just can't mess with.
Yeah, me too. I really hope the same thing. I would rather Skynet, rise up and take care of those people. So,
hey, Gary, plus, you have the Mouse here now owning Deadpool and X-Men. So, hey.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how when I take my daughter to Disney World, riding the Deadpool ride could be very interesting.
Yeah.
No, close your ears. Don't listen to that. No, don't look at that. So, yeah. Hey, it should be good. I think they'll do a fine job, Oh, man. But, yeah, there's lots of stuff going on. Paul, you got a big party this weekend, man. Are you going to be okay? Are you going to party too hard?
The Christmas party is pretty tame. Everybody's starting to have kids now, so not a ton of drinking going on.
So you're saying you're the only one that'll be shirtless? Okay.
Naturally. Gary, God.
Paul apparently just goes around shirtless all the time. That's what he's trying to say.
Oh man, that's awesome.
You don't like.
Me and Paul don't live that far from each other, so when I go up to my local grocery store, I always say, "Hey, you see my buddy Paul? Like who? The guy without the shirt? Yeah, that's him. Okay.
That's him.
Yeah,
He's over there.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Yeah. So. But no, I hope you have a great time this weekend, man. And Sean, you're going to have a blast with Star Wars. And I'm going to be going to a friend's house and kind of having a small get-together, bonfire. I just did a bonfire with the same people, the same guy who owns the house, for my college and career group at church. That was a blast. We had so much fun, and we're going to do it again this weekend. So it's going to be really interesting. Looking forward to it. Good weekend coming up for all of us. But yeah, we got some wrestling news to talk about. So why don't we jump into some? We're not doing that. We're actually going to jump into Clash of Champions. What am I thinking? Well, let's do that first. So let's hit that terrible theme.
About to freak out over here on the board. Format change. Oh God.
No. You're good.
Oh yeah.
If you a champion, show me you a champion. If you a champion, show me you a champion. Cause real champions move like champions. And real champions prove that they're champions. If you a champion, show me you a champion.
Take it away, Gary.
Okay, guys. Well, we're going to definitely break down this whole card and get into it. But before we do, I've just got to say one thing. Are either of you actually excited about this pay-per-view?
Not entirely, no. 2 matches I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 3 matches I'm looking forward to, and I feel like this is one of those that could end at 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those pay-per-views that I look at and say, oh boy, this kind of feels like they just kind of threw it in there. It just had to be done because they said they're going to do another one. And maybe that's not the case. I don't know. SmackDown hasn't been my number one show lately. And I think that's part of it. I don't think that the pay-per-view itself would be that bad. I think it's just my displeasure with some of the things going on over on SmackDown, you know? So, not totally dogging it, just not super excited right now. Let's go ahead and break this thing down. Let's talk about the pre-show. Mojo Rawley is going to take on Zack Ryder. Yeah, the High Bros are done, but they're not done fighting each other, so this is the start. Who's going to win this one, Sean?
Mojo. Even though they've done nothing with them for weeks. Because, hey, this is how we build storylines in WWE. We have somebody turn on the other one and then just, hey, nothing. But, yeah, Mojo, why not?
Rip Hype Bros, I will miss you. Mojo Rawley wins.
They care more about Mojo, Zack Ryder, and go back to, opening up Star Wars store toys and telling us about them. So... Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about the Bludgeon Brothers taking on Breezango. This one, I don't know. I just hope more of the good video packages and less of them in matches. But, Paul, what are you thinking?
To initiate Murderfest on Breezango. Everybody's going to boo them. It's going to be great.
Bludgeon Brothers on 30 seconds? Maybe? It still makes me sad that we paid $10 for a network a month, and they have to have fashion files on the website instead.
Yeah. Ugh, it's awful. I don't understand that either.
I mean, they're going to get more eyes on the website, but still, it's just, you're taking away content that you could tell people to, hey, if you want to see this, you can pay $9.99. Nope.
I figure stuff that might be run afoul of distribution rights. I don't know. It's a whole weird thing.
Yeah. There's probably something going on there. And maybe they're not totally sold on it. They're just, it's content that they can use.
It might be one of those where they don't feel like if it's on the network, it at least has to be 15 minutes, and they don't want to build a whole show around it either.
Mm-hmm.
So on the website, you can have something like the Southpaw Regional, where it was 5 minutes an episode. So
Yeah, that's true. That's probably more the case. You're right about that. I really didn't think about that, but I think the whole fashion files thing is better in small doses anyway. So probably the more intelligent move. Let's talk about the next match we got here. Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton will be taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And they're going to have two referees in this match. That's right. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon both will have those striped shirts on. Trying to call this match right down the middle. We'll see how that works out. But Sami Zayn Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, if they lose, they are fired from WWE completely. Sean, I mean, I would have to say Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are not going to get fired, so they got to win.
Well, yeah, especially when you're already promoting Sami Zayn on the mixed tag match, so that you're, producing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I get it that we live in it's all out there world now, but come on, WWE, be a little bit smarter sometimes. Just a little bit. It's okay. But still, this seems like shenanigans, and more shenanigans are going to happen. And, why not have Daniel Bryan turn and go with Zayn and Owens? That seems like something just out of the blue, and it would be kind of cool to see because we haven't seen Daniel Bryan on the heel side of things in a long time, and it would make sense for him, like where he comes from, to go on their side. So why not? Let's do it. Daniel Bryan turns on Shane, and Zayn and Owens win.
I just feel like this whole thing has been geared up for and at least the way the story's been told, it's for Shane to go off his rocker and just turn into Vince almost, is what it feels like. But this is one of those where it doesn't really matter about really who wins or loses. It's about what happens during it. So I wouldn't be shocked if this goes a no finish and they just throw it out. But Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens is indeed the smart choice here. They're the only reason to watch SmackDown. Like, why would you want to get rid of them right now? It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very, very true. And I really do look forward to really, honestly, not seeing the result of this match itself, just to seeing what Daniel Bryan's going to do and Shane McMahon's going to do. The referees are actually the important part of this whole equation, So that's going to be a really fun situation, I think, in the end, just to see if Daniel Bryan uses any physicality too. So. Let's talk about the tag team match. That's right, we got a tag team championship match. It is a fatal four-way, and we got the Usos defending against the New Day, Gable and Benjamin, along with Rusev and English. Sean, who do you got?
Wouldn't it be cool if Rusev and English could win the tag titles? Those two have been quite the interesting pairing. Of course, you got Gable and Benjamin they could give it to. I want to say somebody else is going to win, but just to move the title somewhere so they can have another match. I'll say Gable and Benjamin will get the upset or something.
Legitimately, I think Gable and Benjamin are your only other choice to win here outside of the Usos. As much as I, like you, Sean, would love to see Rusev and English for those championship belts, they've been so much fun. They're just such a fun act. And
could you imagine how great that could be if them holding titles and
I just want that SmackDown opening of Aiden English, belting out how happy he is that Rusev Day now has gold. Or silver in this case. I think the Usos retain here. I don't really know if you need to change the belts right now. And it's not like you can't have them come out of this stealing the win or something like that against somebody to push a feud forward.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great, like you guys were talking about with, Rusev and English. I would even love Chad Gable and, Benjamin to hold them because those two guys are really fun to watch and it'd be exciting, but I just have this gut feeling the Usos will retain and they'll have another way to brag and say, look, you throw anybody you want. You already threw everybody you thought you could throw at us, but now, who else can you get? And, we'll see. So, but yeah, I think the Usos retain. The women's championship match is on the line. Charlotte will be defending her championship against Natalya once again. I mean, Paul, this could be interesting.
Yeah, it's also a lumberjack match, or a lumberjill match, if you will. So this is another one that's going to have tons of interference and junk like that. I will say, however, it's a nice way to get the entire division involved in this and to sort of keep the Riot Squad story going on and maybe make it interesting. Because that would sure be helpful. But Charlotte's walking out with the belt somehow.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be, some close calls from the Lumberjills getting involved and all that stuff. And I'm sure you'll get a moonsault onto everybody. That seems like it's primed to happen for this match. But yeah, Charlotte's going to be walking out here champ.
Yeah, you guys are right. It's just hard to imagine Natalya getting that belt. It's not going to happen. I think once again, the focus may not be between the two. It may actually be with the Lumberjills and all the storylines coming out of that. So another spectacle for sure on that one. The U.S. title will be up for grabs when Baron Corbin goes out and defends it against Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. I would love to see Bobby Roode grab a title here, and then, Dolph Ziggler, well, I don't know. But, Sean, I have a feeling Baron Corbin's going to keep it. What do you think is going to happen?
I wish Baron Corbin, went somewhere else, but, it is what it is. He will probably, just defend here. Dolph Ziggler probably takes the pin, I'm sure, because he's Dolph. Why not? I'd love to see a glorious championship reign for Bobby Roode, but it's probably not happening.
I'm going to pick Bobby Roode just because I'm hoping and praying they can make this title, matter again. Because with it on Baron, I don't care. I don't want to see him. And he has the belt, which means I don't want to see the U.S. title.
I'm glad we agree there.
Yeah. Well, he has enough of his lovers and supporters to probably, at least make them want to do it. But I'm right there with you guys. Bobby Roode having it would be a lot of fun, but I just think it's still a little early in the game for him to hold gold. So we'll see. All right, well, let's talk about the heavyweight championship match we have here, and that is, of course, the WWE Championship on the line. AJ Styles defending against Jinder Mahal. I mean, of course, the Singh brothers will also be in tow here. I mean, Paul, I don't know. You hear the rumors, Mahal getting it back, all this kind of stuff. What do you lay?
I choose to disbelieve those facts and substitute my own and say AJ's going to win here. I got nothing against Jinder, but the last title reign did nothing for a lot of people. I don't know why you really would want to go back to that. And I don't know, let's just not go through that, especially when you're counting on, or you're getting close to a time where you really need to start selling shows because you're getting in the run up to WrestleMania. I think leaving the belt on AJ is a smart move, and you could try Jinder again later next year if you want.
Oh, just please do not go back to the Jinder experiment. It's over. Let it be. Let it die for all I care. AJ has certainly proved himself that, he doesn't need a nation of 1.3 billion people to help prop him up. He is good wherever he goes. AJ defends this thing and keeps it.
I agree with you guys. I don't really think that they are, sold on the Jinder train. Of course, it doesn't really matter, I guess. But, with Triple H beating him in India and all this other stuff going on, it just does not seem like they're as excited about him as they once were. I see AJ holding it just for, a little while longer. So, yeah, AJ Styles for me as well. But yeah, that's your Clash of Champions. We hope you get a chance to join us when we actually review this show. All of us will have to kind of, figure out behind the scenes when we're going to do this, because I think a lot of us have a crazy weekend coming up. But we will have a review show over that, and, really looking forward to seeing all the results of that show. So there you go, guys. Now it is time for us to move on, and we are going to jump into some wrestling news. That's right. Quick hits are next.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Go for it, Gary.
All right. Well, let's start this thing off and just really talk about something that, man, it's really tough because, you really don't want to talk about these type of things, especially when it comes to people having major issues. And, it's just a sad truth about Matt Capitelli and his brain cancer. It has come back. He is stage 4, which basically means he doesn't have long to live. It's terminal. And they've done some operations on him, took out some of the cancer, but there's a lot that is growing around his brainstem and is inoperable. Boy, this is tough. This is something, Sean, that I never want to hear. Me and you both, when we've talked past on the podcast, have personal, situations with people having cancer, but this is just a sad, sad story.
Yeah, this guy's been through so much, just since Tough Enough and all that, and having all these things happen to him with the cancer, and cancer's an awful thing, and just hopefully, it's not something where he dies suddenly. He gets to live much longer. That's all you can say. It's when it's brain cancer, it's absolutely dangerous, and at least they've been able to remove some of the tumor, so that's good at least.
Yeah, this is one of the deadliest forms of cancer is what he has now, so it's not a good time for anybody. I have my friend's dad recently lost his dad to cancer, which really sucked too, but Matt's he's been cancer-free, and for it to come back and this aggressively is just super unfortunate. I wish him absolutely nothing but the best.
For sure. Boy, once again, our hearts go out to the Matt Capitelli, his family, all his friends, and this is not a great deal for him, but, I think he's definitely inspired a lot of people. I just recently heard Johnny Morrison, Johnny Mundo, what do you want to call him these days, Nitro, or whatever you feel like calling him. But, he was recently talking about this, and he says, when he's having a tough day and just really thinks his life is terrible, he kind of understands that it's not so much because his friend is going through something like this, in which, these guys were good friends. They did Tough Enough together. So, Such a sad story. Let's talk about something that will kind of hopefully get us out of that realm and get us into some more positive vibes here, guys. This past Wednesday, WWE announced a big thing. That's right, they announced Mixed Match Challenge. This is something that's kind of cool because this will be streaming live on Facebook on Tuesday nights, and this will start January 16th. And what it is they're going to start kind of going through this whole process of, I believe, 12 nights, and it'll be this whole tournament where we'll get a chance to see Raw and SmackDown stars go at it and see who is the champion of the Mixed Match Challenge. So this whole thing is kind of interesting. They are actually backing up 205 Live so they can do this on Tuesdays. As we know, 205 airs later, but they'll be backing it up about 30 minutes earlier. That way they can get this show going. Or is it 30 minutes earlier? I know I usually watch SmackDown then 205 right away, so it's interesting.
Yeah, 205 will be on at 10:30 now. Like kind of like when they instead of having like Talking Smack come on after 205, they're doing the mixed thing before 205. Okay. Which is what I always felt they should have done from the beginning, was have Talking Smack come on after SmackDown and then do 205, but they did it ass backwards. So
yeah, Well, at least they're doing this right. That's the positive thing. Yeah, this is going to be cool, though. I mean, we've got, several big names in this tournament, and I think a lot of people are really interested in that. They announced for the Raw team they'll have Alexa Bliss, Alicia Fox, Asuka, Bayley, Braun Strowman, Enzo Amore. They'll have Finn Balor, Goldust, Nia Jax. And Sasha Banks will also have The Miz, and they'll also have a final fan participation vote for who that last competitor will be. On the SmackDown side, we'll have Becky Lynch, Bobby Roode. We'll also have Carmella, Charlotte, Jimmy Uso, Lana, Naomi, Natalya, Rusev, Sami Zayn, along with Shinsuke Nakamura, and of course we'll have the final vote for fan participation, which will be a member of the New Day. So this is a whole interesting thing. I mean, this is going to be cool. I mean, it'll have, no commercials at all. So that's a big thing for fans watching it on Facebook. It'll basically be a new kind of format of its own. That'll be really unique and really kind of interesting to kind of see it happen the way it's going to happen. We'll also have this whole thing kind of go down, and while the show is running, actually, 205 Live, like we talked about, will be moved and all that. So we'll have a lot of things changing around for these Tuesday nights coming up January 16th. I mean, this looks kind of neat, Paul. I really never saw this coming. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah, to that end, I feel like this is something that kind of came up spur of the moment of Facebook approaching WWE and being like, hey, we have this new thing we're trying to launch. You guys want to do something for it? We'll give you a bunch of money. Okay.
Dollar signs, yeah.
The winner of this tournament, too, they get to pick a charity, and that charity will get $100,000 in support from the WWE, so at least something good will come of this, even though it's a fixed thing, so I'm sure a bunch of different charities are about to get some money, but this is kind of interesting. Like, I don't know if it's something you necessarily need, but it could be a fun way to, you don't want to watch SmackDown and you want to watch wrestling on Tuesday. Quick 20 minutes here with some people not a bad thing all the way around. Plus, it could be real fun if it's just ends up being all these married couples and people who are dating end up teaming together or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we see mixed tags all the time, right? So it's kind of interesting to be able to see this and it have its own spotlight. People keep talking about, this is not intergender. I don't know why people kept thinking this was an intergender thing on social media. Maybe wishful thinking on their part or something, but you might have some teases of the women wrestling the men and stuff like that. And I think, people have been wanting that for WWE to do. I think this is a nice way to get a different audience, right, too, for them. They're trying to, they're now on the same thing that has the Big Baller brand show, and there's some other things on this Facebook Watch deal that Facebook's just launched. So that's kind of cool that they approached WWE and said, hey, can you do something for us? And, Facebook's not there. That's a big company coming into you and saying, hey, do something for us. So, that's good for WWE. I wonder if this takes off, if other wrestling gets involved, or perhaps WWE starts wondering if, having their shows on Facebook is not a bad idea as well. Maybe they can get a deal like the NFL where something gets put on Facebook every week or something like that. Where they had to deal with Twitter last year. Now it's on Amazon for the Thursday Night Football. So, hey, could you imagine if Facebook comes and tries to bid for Raw and SmackDown or whatever in a couple of years?
Yeah, that could be really, really interesting. I wouldn't be super shocked if that's where this does end up going, is that suddenly you get into a bidding war for online content or something like that for the WWE. So maybe get like some simultaneous streaming between the network and like Facebook Watch or something like that.
Sorry about that, guys. I disappeared on you guys.
Poof.
So I know.
Okay. I wonder if the network is going to get this too eventually, or if it's going to just stay on Facebook.
If Disney has taught us anything, distribution rights can be complicated.
Oh boy. It's a great thing to have, I think, because we've heard, people talk about the mixed, matches and the fact that they'd like to see them more, and WWE doesn't really do it a whole lot. On a spare occasion, they'll do them. Now it's kind of a deal, and I think it's kind of cool to have these niche things, right? I mean, to kind of grab people and to bring them in. And I love the idea of all the pairings. I don't know if you guys talked about the pairings, but the pairing stuff to me is the most interesting, how they're going to do that, right? I mean, because you have a guy like Braun Strowman and Nia Jax, or Braun Strowman and Asuka.
Well, how's anybody beating Braun Strowman and Nia Jax, number one?
Well, but even more than that, Asuka, undefeated. I mean, that's another thing. Does that count towards her undefeated streak? I don't know if they do that with the tags, but I don't know.
I'd imagine they're going to be promoting this on Raw and SmackDown, so yeah. I mean, they'd be kind of dumb not to. You're on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. So.
They promote any other time somebody does something on social media.
That's very true. To me, I find the star power pretty one-sided as far as brands go. Like, there's a lot of the people who are getting big pushes over there on Raw, like Braun and Asuka. Nia, of course, is kept pretty strong too, and Finn's sort of on the rise once again. I don't know if you really have a lot of that going on SmackDown outside of maybe Sammy and Charlotte. So, kind of, I think maybe Raw's got the one up as far as who's going to come out of this winning, especially with Braun. I mean, whoever's got that partner, that's a winner.
Yeah, really.
Bayley needs it the most, I'd say. So.
That'd be kind of interesting to see Bayley and
her running around him with the tassels and all that, and he's just staring like,
So a lot of aggressive hugging.
Braun!
What do you do? That'd be awesome. He comes out and he screams, and then the inflatable tubes pop up as soon as he screams.
Could you imagine? Great.
Oh, that would be amazing. So
I feel like they missed the boat, though, to have, the winner automatically faces John Cena and Nikki Bella at the end or something. With, the Ultimate Boss mixed tag match.
The only way I buy into that is if you end up coming to the match and it's actually Miz and Maurice pretending to be John Cena and Nikki Bella.
well, I don't know. I mean, is Maurice just going to be like, well, I'm pregnant, Miz, so you're wrestling by yourself?
Yeah, basically. That's what would have to happen. But, if it's Braun Strowman winning anyway, there's no point in even getting in the ring. Yeah. So... It's gonna be fun. I mean, I like you did say, Paul. It is very one-sided. I kind of tend to agree. I'm still gonna have fun with it, though. I still think it's gonna be fun to watch. And once again, it's a niche thing, but I think it'll be entertaining enough for a lot of people to want to tune in. And Facebook, I think you found something here, because I think a lot of people will be tuning in. So. Good stuff on that end, and really kind of curious to see how that works out. But also really quickly, we had Charlotte talk about the robes. Her and Bobby Roode. Could you imagine the robes that they're going to come up with? Like, they're probably going to come up with some way to find a matching robe, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean you won't be able to see anything when they get to the ring, though. It'll be so shiny.
About to say, there's a legal limit as to how many rhinestones you can have on a TV at one time.
Yeah, that's just they'll walk to the ring and just two spots happening.
Oh man, that's true.
I wonder if this succeeds. If maybe they could bring back the King of the Ring or something for this.
Mm-hmm.
Have that on Facebook or that'd be kind of interesting.
I would be too. I think that'd be a great idea, and I think if this does work out, you may see something like that.
Yeah, you could just do a tournament every 12 weeks, so that's 3 months. Every 3 months you have a tournament for something, and it's not bad.
Not at all. And keeping people's attention. That's a really good thing. Well, WWE has had to do something that's not so good for the fans over there in Edmonton. They actually had to cancel a big event that they had coming up February 9th. This is an event that was going to be taking place in the new Rogers Place Arena. And the reason it is because they recently had a athlete pass away. And this is, of course, I think is a boxer, right, Paul? Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so during some event they had in Edmonton recently, a boxer ended up dying in the ring by the name of, I'm going to butcher this last name, Tim Hogue, something like that. And the city decided to ban any and all combat sports from taking place in Edmonton for 1 year, for 1 full year. So wrestling falls under that, so they can no longer have their show there, so they had to can it.
Wow. That's really scary to think that, that happened. But not only that, you really have a hard time arguing against their point because a death never looks good on anybody. And right. I don't think that they are really in the mood to have any kind of combat sports because of that reason. And I don't blame them. I really don't. In the long run, maybe it's, something they need to work away from. But, I think right now I get it. I mean, Sean, that's a tough place to be in, especially running an arena.
Oh, no, I think that is a difficult thing to decide on, number one, because you're also saying, okay, we're not going to bring business into our city. And that's a thing you have to decide on just because, I mean, let's be honest, it's not like it was an accident, right? This guy dying. So, I mean, it's not really on them. But I think this is also a way to kind of see if they can deter people from doing this in Edmonton. And I'm sure WWE will be back. So I'm just surprised that, WWE didn't try to pull the whole, hey, we're entertainment thing, and we don't fall into that. You should let us do the show anyway. And but yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's true. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's money versus morality at this point, and in Canada, morality wins. This would never happen here in the States.
No, it wouldn't.
Oh, someone died? Oh, well, mop it up. Well, let's move on to the next show.
Next fight. Yeah.
Keep that money coming in.
Yep.
Oh, capitalism. I love it. And then hate it, too. So, all the same. But anyway, well, that's terrible news. But, before we get into some injuries in the world of wrestling, let's mention this since we're talking about bringing things in. WWE actually apparently has been looking into opening up an academy in India. Yeah, recently they were over there, and Triple H was actually kind of coming in and asking some questions to some of the people in India and looking to open up one. There's actually a place that I will butcher the name. Paul, do you know how to say this name of this place? The academy.
Shahid Vijay Singh Pathik Sports Complex.
Perfect. There you go. But Sean, we've kind of looked into this and we've seen Impact Wrestling think about doing something like this and trying to work. It seems like India does enjoy their wrestling. Well, do you think WWE is going to actually, try to do this and get this done?
They did this in China, kind of, right? Mm-hmm. So, I guess why not? You've invested a lot in trying to get India to watch your product with the Jinder Mahal and all that, and that India does enjoy their wrestling. Yeah, look, if they want to spend the money on it, why not? I would figure that's what the Performance Center is for, but sometimes you can't bring everybody over there, and it's good to have them there local and see if you can make a star out of someone.
Yeah, to me, this is sort of branching out into what we talked about as WWE was talking about having tournaments and creating championships for these different areas around the world, is that eventually it's just going to be one giant series of step ladders leading to a pyramid at the top that is the WWE main roster. This could be one of the stepping stools over there in India for these guys to sort of at least get talent working towards that ultimate goal of being on WWE television someday. And if it doesn't, WWE also seems very interested in just trying to grow wrestling around the world because that inevitably will help them find more talent. So,
right.
It's just, I think it's a win-win whether they, it's these people ever see WWE TV, or if they don't, it's growing wrestling in India, and that's something that a lot of companies seem interested in.
Yeah, you're right, and hey, it's something that I think eventually will have to take a hold, and I think WWE, just like anyone else, wants to get their stronghold, wants to find a way to be the one that does the best job. That way they can take the credit for it, and it's been a work in progress, and I think someone eventually will get it. We'll have to see if WWE can be the ones to do it. Let's talk about some of these injuries going on. Scott Dawson apparently has been cleared to come back to wrestling, so that means that he'll be arriving probably in the near future, maybe within the month. This could be kind of cool to see, Paul.
He's expected to be clear within the next month, so I wouldn't wager seeing Revival until sometime next year, but it's good to know these guys are coming back. Hopefully they've shaken off this injury bug. They can get back to being awesome.
Yeah, I want to see them both be out there and wrestling as the Revival and kicking ass. It's sad to have seen them have to be out because of injuries to one or the other since they've made the main roster debuts. So let's hope this is the last of it.
Yeah. It just seems like chronic injuries for the Revival. And I'm really, like you guys, just hoping that they can stay healthy just for a short amount of time, if it's not a long amount of time. Come on, guys. One guy that can stay healthy, Sean, is DJZ. He's got another neck injury. But the positive thing, if there's a positive coming out of this, is it's not as serious as the one he had previously. So he'll take some time off, but it's not as bad as it could be from the last one.
Well, that's good. I mean, DJZ is a guy that's going to keep on going until they can't anymore. So thankfully this one doesn't seem like it's going to keep him out too long. But neck injuries are always serious, so you got to watch those because they pile on and then makes it hard for you later on in life, when you need that to walk around or do pretty much anything.
That sucks. This guy can't catch a break. Neck injury. This one, at least, is less serious. I believe it's 3 ruptured discs. So, fortunately, just needs to stay home and rest and not do anything too strenuous. But still, it sucks. This guy's pretty fun to watch. And, I mean, we've certainly seen Impact count on him more times than not, too.
Yeah, that's very, very true. So we're really hoping the best for him too. That guy's he's a tremendous athlete. Mm-hmm. Another tremendous athlete, and a guy we've all been kind of curious about his injury, Hiroshi Tanahashi, is another guy that has had to deal with some problems, and one of those is a knee injury. His right knee has been really giving him problems. They have finally diagnosed it as arthritis and fluid on the knee. And apparently this could cause him to miss shows on the Road 2 shows that they'll be doing in December, but expect to see him at Wrestle Kingdom 12. That's really good news if you ask me, Paul.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of hubbub about Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, and of course Naito and Omega, but I think Tanahashi and Jay White is going to be something real special, so I'm real glad that these guys are going to get a chance to go out there and put on a great match so we both know they can have.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Jay White's going to want to have a huge match to come back into New Japan, and Tanahashi's just a man that can help deliver it for him. And he is somebody that's no stranger to fighting through pain to do just that. So I'm not too worried. I mean, look, the dude's getting older. To have arthritis in your knees is not uncommon at all. So, I mean, how many normal people go through that all the time, having arthritis in your knee just because you got older? So for a guy that's wrestled for how long he has, for him to have that is, I'm glad it's just that, not something more serious, really.
Mm-hmm. It's true, and it's kind of funny because I can kind of relate to, probably not as bad as this guy, because this guy has done a lot of athletics and probably really, hurt his knee. But, I have had a knee, and I don't know if it's an injury or what, but I've had a knee problem forever now, it seems like. And I finally, after a sports doctor looked at it, said, they just think it's arthritis. They don't find anything else. And I can believe it, but that's just the way things work out. Eventually, you just end up with arthritis for some reason, or for the use of, just the use of it, so, just it's a chronic deal you have to deal with, and I think Tanahashi will, and I think he'll get through it. I'm just so happy this guy is going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. That's just the best part about this whole thing. This is something else that's kind of interesting, talking about New Japan. Sean, we're hearing that Mark Cuban, after an interview, kind of talked about the fact that him and Access TV are really enjoying their work with New Japan. They love the partnership there, and they are seeing a lot of success coming out of it. A lot of people are kind of tuning in to check out the product. He's kind of also mentioning a few things of that he would like to do less delayed content and more live content and do more special events from New Japan. I think that's really cool. That's really neat on my end. I mean, Sean, you've listened to Mark Cuban. He, of course, owns your favorite basketball team. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I just watched that favorite basketball team lose to the Warriors after putting up a good fight. Earlier in the evening, but they, I think this is actually right up what New Japan has been planning all along, that they are doing this thing with Los Angeles and trying to expand in the United States because they can see it. They can see that their product is growing here. It's getting a bigger following, and one of those places that they've known that for a while is with Access TV. And I feel like that's just going to come hand in hand. Once you have the LA dojo going and you have more talent that's based here and you're not having to bring Okada and Naito and all those guys around all the time, then I think that can work. I think they could also start doing something where, it just depends. If they don't want to involve ROH, maybe you cut one of those ROH shows and you make it a New Japan Present show, and you have that on Access during that tour, so you're not having to bring them over for special, New Japan only tours or whatever, and you're killing two birds with one stone there. So if you're going to come for an ROH tour 2 or 3 times, or more, go ahead and make one of those a New Japan show that you do on Access. And there you go. You get your live content. I don't know how much more, closer they can get to being hand in hand with New Japan the way they air, because I don't think that they really care that much about. I mean, unless Mark Cuban says, "Hey, just give me matches from those Road 2 shows. I don't care." Then sure. But if you're only going to be doing the big shows still. It's going to be difficult to be even closer than you are with like what they're doing Wrestle Kingdom 3 days after. So
2
days after. So yeah. I mean,
this is one. It's really cool. He's saying that there are some weeks where New Japan outperforms the MMA content they have on that channel, which is some of their highest rated programming. So, really, that's just all good news to hear it from a different source outside of New Japan and all these other wrestling places, but. I'm sort of with him. Unless you just start creating dedicated time to have these guys put on shows over here, it's going to be a little rougher to get, less on the delay, unless you just want less of a actual delay to where you're simulcasting or something like that. I don't know, but that's a tough puzzle to figure out with the huge time difference between Japan and States. So hats off to him. I'm just glad that they're sort of committing to this whole deal. It's a great step for New Japan, great step for Access TV, really, if this is the direction they want to go.
Very much so. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, they could do it where they simulcast, but you'd have to air it at 4 a.m. and then re-air it later that day or something, because nobody's watching it at 4 a.m. other than the diehards, and they're already watching it in New Japan World. So, plus, that might hurt some of the New Japan World subscriptions too, if they can just get it on Access, even though Access is a very niche channel. So I don't know how many people that would really affect, but I wonder if New Japan would really want to possibly take that hit, unless Mark Cuban says, "Well, here, we'll back out the Brinks truck, just do it."
Yeah, could you imagine? Wow, that'd be crazy.
Well, so it's not like he's hurting for anything. I mean,
guy's taking a table spot in the WWE. I don't see why he wouldn't back up the Brinks truck,
Yeah. I mean, I'd imagine that, the Mavericks would probably want him to back up the truck for somebody instead, but, whatever gets that guy going.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Well, whatever gets these other guys going, like Sami Callihan, apparently, he really likes to kiss people, but New Japan's not happy about that. They said that his opponents are not really expecting this to take place, and so they're not happy. So that means, New Japan's not happy. Poor Sami Callihan.
Sami Callihan, do you not understand that you are working in a different culture? You're not working in the United States? I mean, are you that much of an idiot?
Maybe he's just so overcome with emotion of being in the ring with some of these great guys, and he just can't help himself.
I don't know, but some people, I just don't understand. Like, you're going
for our president, it might work for Sammy.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah.
I don't know that you want our president as the model of why you do something. There's a reason why there's a T-shirt that says "I'm sorry for our president" or whatever out there.
Oh man,
in 10 different languages.
It's a really positive thing to go get too, because if you buy that shirt, you could probably wear it for the rest of your life, and it's never not true.
Never not wrong.
No matter what side of the fence you ride on, whether you're really left, really right, or right in the center, it's never wrong. So,
and even then, you could say, "I mean, the president of something else."
Yeah, true. Very, very true. Well, you know what? There's something that people will be wearing in the near future, and that is the Ring of Honor Championship belt. And there'll be a new one that'll be arriving at Final Battle. So they'll be making this debut. I don't know. I'm not sold on this, really, but what do you guys think about it? Sean, have you seen this new belt?
Well, we have a picture here in our wonderful doc that we use because, hey, using Google Docs is smart for building podcasts. But anyway, it looks pretty, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the way it looks. Just, I think what matters more is the champion that holds it, not necessarily the way that it looks. But hey, if you want to keep updating the look of something to make it look better for your product, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, my wife has been trying to do that for a long time with me, but we're still. It's a work in progress, guys.
Well, don't you get the variety of? Well, this month I get the goatee, and then this month, no, I got to go all clean shaven. And
it's amazing, Sean, that you said that, because we were just having this discussion tonight, and she said I would look ridiculous with a goatee, and then she busted out laughing like for 10 minutes about thinking about me with a goatee. So I was like, thank God my face is for your amusement.
That's how that works, man.
Yeah, it's true. So, well, I mean, Paul, do you have any thoughts on this title? I mean, it's okay. It's not bad looking. I don't know. I guess I'm so used to the old one.
I really like the old one that they have, too. I think it's really, really swank. But this one looks really, really nice as well. It's sort of, almost sort of evocative of what they tried to do with the UK title over there in WWE. It's got a lot of the same sort of details and sort of all that cool stuff going on. But I think it's a very, very pretty title. And it looks different, which I think is sort of what they're trying to go for.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. It's gonna be, it'll be something we'll get used to, and I think like you said, it looks nice. So eventually, that'll be the one I think of all the time. Really quickly here, before we jump into some Impact Wrestling talk, we're going to do a little talk about some of these independent promotions. Lucha Underground, they're looking to be doing some filming for their next part of their Season 4. So they'll be beginning the Season 4 tapings pretty soon here. That'll be starting mid-February and through March, I believe, and this will be kind of interesting. A lot of people have been kind of clamoring to find out when this is all going to take place. We had 21 episodes they'll be doing. They'll be doing, a lot of heavy cost cutting, of course, because they're not making as much as they once were. So that'll cause a little problems here and there, but I think for the most part they're going to try to really work hard. They're looking to do Saturday and Sunday nights, so that'll be about when you'll be finding them do it in most weeks. Looking at this, Paul, looks like they're trying to get everything in motion, but how do you feel about this? And I don't know, just how do you feel?
They wanted to have a way to bring in more revenue, so doing 3 tapings a week for a month and a half or so, and having people pay to get into each one, I think is a very smart idea as far as that goes. So they'll be doing all that, and I'm just kind of looking forward to see what's going to happen, what's going to go down. There were some recent reports that recently just came out as I was scrolling through news right now that you can go ahead and write down Phoenix and Pentagon Dark to return for the season as well. So not everybody's jumped off the boat yet, which is good news.
Oh boy, Phoenix and Pentagon Dark, that is some awesome news for them. I think the 21 episode thing kind of sucks, to hear that it's going to be less episodes and with all the cost cutting already going on, but at least they have a season, and that's kind of what's important, right? They could have easily just said, hey, no, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's very, very true. They could have done that, and I'm just glad they are sticking around too. I gotta have my reservations. You get kind of worried a little bit for the fact that they are doing a lot of cost cutting. They're trying to work things around. They're losing some of their stars, and as much as I love Lucha Underground, it just some of the changes you really question how much it's gonna really keep the show from being as great as it was. That's one thing I fear. One company that's, not figuring too much right now is Air Lucha. I know they're brand new, but they've already got Rey Mysterio signed on. In fact, Lucha Underground has him coming back just to kind of finish things up for them, but he is going to be pretty much the face of that promotion over there in Air Lucha. What do you think, Sean?
Well, yeah. It kind of sucks for Lucha Underground. He was doing some good things for them in the last season, but hey, that time goes on. At least it's something where they don't have to spend money to have Rey Mysterio back. I'm sure he wasn't cheap, so you can put that more into the cost cutting that you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sort of stinks, but it felt like they kind of knew he may or may not. They may or may not be bringing him back already. With the way they sort of wrote him at the end of Season 3. So it certainly does stink, but it just means we'll get to see him rot in a cage in the pits of the temple, and just assume that's where he died, because that's how Lucha works.
Yeah, and that's okay with me, because at least it, has a story that you could pick up and leave or whenever you want it, and that's good. So, never know. Mm-hmm. If the future's bright for them, that's great, and they can bring him back. But right now, he's going to be an Air Lucha guy. So, really quickly, we're going to talk about MLW. That's right, Kurt Bauer's promotion here. They have really been continuing doing events, and apparently, it looks like they're back.
Yeah, they announced 5 dates for next year already, if I remember correctly. So that's really cool. Strictly sticking to the Orlando area as well. So you can count another big independent happening down there. Supposedly the last 2 shows have actually been pretty good too. So, Lots of good stuff to look forward to there. And it's a promotion that maybe not a lot of people remember from their first run, but they sort of helped set up a lot of the CM Punk Raven stuff that went on in the early 2000s, which is a nice little claim to fame that you got to help Punk find his way throughout his career.
Yeah, very much so. That's really, really cool. So, we're also getting news that House of Hardcore, they'll be continuing on themselves, and they are going to crown their first champion coming up in January. That's really cool. Look, man, it sounds like they're doing really well for themselves right now.
This Twitch deal has got to be bonkers for them, and of course it's supposed to turn into weekly content at some point, which will be kind of neat, and for them to do all this and go all out at the beginning of the year sort of gets you hyped up and excited, even though I haven't been super psyched about all the cards I've seen recently. I'm still anxious to see where they're going to take all this.
Yeah, I am too. Once again, I mean, you've heard many, many things about hardcore, House of Hardcore, and just everything that they're doing, and the success that they've had has really, it made me excited personally. And, I've yet to check it out on Twitch, but I'll say this, that they really make me want to because of everything that they bring out and some of the big, stories you hear about what's going on over there. So I'm glad for them and really looking forward to seeing who they crown the champion. So, but yeah, that pretty much wraps up our quick hits for this week. And of course, we'll have some big news, I'm sure, next week to talk about. But now we are going to move on and we are going to jump into some Impact Wrestling talk. So we'll do that now. Let's go and jump into that, Paul.
Yeah. Actually, an episode I'm kind of excited to get your thoughts on, because I actually enjoyed an episode of Impact for what feels like the first time in 3 months. Yeah.
The podcast is broken, people. We're sorry. Something happened.
It's over. It's done. I don't think we can podcast anymore, Gary. It's we have to turn in our fan card for liking an episode of Impact.
Yeah, so we should tell them why we enjoyed it for the most part.
I agree. They opened the show here with this number one contenders match for the Knockouts Championship that will have a new champion by the end of this show. And it's got basically everybody who's been beat. So you have Sienna, you have Casey Spinelli, you have Madison Rayne, and Allie all in there. The only downside to this match is there's this super long commercial in the middle of it that really just takes you right out of it. They do, however, they at least succeeded in bringing me back in for the end. Allie ends up getting the win after rolling up Sienna. She was going for the AK-47 on Spinelli and gets the victory.
Yeah, this actually rounded up being a decent match. It wasn't exactly how you say the most polished match.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just very honest with that. But I think you could tell that they had something in mind. They had a great plan in motion. And I think for the most part, they executed what they wanted to and what they needed to. So I am not going to be, up in arms because it wasn't fluid. It wasn't really all that pretty. But yeah, I mean, I think Laurel Van Ness, being the one that they're all kind of looking at to see, who's going to take her and who's going to do what. I think this, was great for Allie. And I think, it's something that we kind of saw coming with everything with Gail Kim and telling her that she was, her future was bright nonetheless. So I think this worked out the way it needed to. I think it was a pretty decent open. Like I said, not a polished match, but I think it was not a bad way to start the show either.
No, I don't think so either. I think the action was pretty good at times. I think the pace that they were probably trying to work just seemed a little fast, even though they do get almost 13 minutes here. But I don't know. They all worked really hard, and sometimes that really does do enough to pull you in. So.
Yeah, and I love Josh Matthews putting himself over, saying, "Yeah, I'm married to Madison Rayne, by the way, everyone." Yeah, just to let you guys know
about that. I would I'd write them a check for $100. That.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
After that, Caleb Connolly teams up with Trevor Lee to take on Desmond Xavier and Taji Ishimori, which is fallout from last week's X Division match, and some interference and all that good stuff. As you would expect, Xavier and Ishimori win here after Ishimori ends up rolling up Trevor Lee for the victory. Yeah, I thought, once again, not a lot of time, maybe, well, I don't know, they do get 12 minutes. It felt like it flew by a little faster than that, but, I mean, I still enjoy Ishimori. I really enjoy Xavier when they bring him in. I wasn't as over the moon about this as maybe I probably should have been.
Yeah, I kind of right there with you. With Ishimori, you immediately think, oh, man, this is going to be good, and him and Trevor Lee have done some good things, and I really maybe had my expectations up a little too high. I don't think this was terrible. I don't. I think that they did some good things in this. The ending kind of was not my favorite way. The finish was not exactly... I'm not saying clear. I just will say it was kind of awkward in a way for me. So I'm very happy for Ishimori getting the victory here with him and his partner. But I don't know. It's strange to say that, but you just don't know if you really cared about this match a lot or not.
I think that's sort of it, too. I'm not super over the moon about the Trevor Lee-Caleb Connolly pairing. And for somebody who I usually expect a lot of big things out of in Trevor Lee, this title reign hasn't really done a whole lot to, I think, just sort of get you going like, oh man, this is going to be great. It's like, oh, here comes the X Division. Let's see what's going to happen,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah. After that, we get some video history between James Storm, Moose, Bobby Lashley, American Top Team, that whole fiasco that really should be over by now, but isn't. Then Alberto El Patron meets with Petey Williams and Johnny Impact backstage, and he starts talking to him about the 6-man tag team match that they're about to come up in, and he doesn't want to tag with them. However, management is making him participate, and then says, Johnny, accidents can really happen anytime out there in the ring, and then wanders off. Okay.
Yeah, not my favorite moment. I'll just be honest. It was kind of, I don't know. Patrona is not my favorite, just to have to sit there and listen to for a long period of time. So I was really wanting to zone out.
Yeah, this is something that like you see often in television shows or books or movies or anything like that too. Where they seemingly have to overexpose or overexplain a situation here. I get it, Patron doesn't want to be here, but you didn't need an angle for me to tell me that. Do that in the ring, It just felt like a waste of time, wasted oxygen, almost. It's just, ugh.
Yeah. Well, especially when he looks at, Petey Williams and says, so you're the Canadian Destroyer. And he just taps him on the shoulder. I'm like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that a statement, a question, or are you just? Okay.
Just stating he's Canadian. I don't know.
I guess so.
Eli Drake and Chris Adonis then gets a promo time to talk about their tag match and meet up with Jimmy Jacobs, teasing that he's going to be their partner. However, Jimmy Jacobs brings out Congo Kong to the excitement of very, very few. However, this match is actually quite good. It's 8.5 minutes or so. Very, very fast pace. Everybody's sort of getting their big stuff in before Patron ends up hitting a frog splash on Eli Drake to get the victory. And it does a pretty effective job, I think, of mixing in the story between Petey, Johnny, Patron, Drake, and Adonis, and Congo Kong's just sort of, I don't know, tacked on for whatever.
Yeah, I'll say it this way. I kind of felt like this is going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it wasn't, but it just kind of felt like to me, you could have talked about this and you kind of got what you talked about. It really didn't throw you for a loop. It was good. I'm not going to hate on it because I think they had some good moments in this match. But I think Congo Kong really didn't just make me go crazy. It didn't drive anybody wild. And to see Patron get the pin, especially on Drake, you kind of figure something like that was going to happen in general. So I think the element of surprise was kind of taken away from me. So it was decent, it was good, but nothing over the top.
I mean, I thought this was just a really, really good sprint. I mean, you have everybody working hard and doing, I think, what they tried to accomplish in the opening match. Just they were able to keep the pace, and all that sort of helped keep the match flowing. And I mean, this almost flew by to me until, you know, you have to sit through Patron hitting the finish, but it's sort of whatever. You know,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, like you said, like the beginning, but this one was a little bit more polished. You had, I mean, my God, you had Johnny, you know, Impact involved in this match, and you know, Patron's no slouch himself, and several of these guys, you've got really talented people involved. It's just for the fact that there were just, it just, like I said, wasn't over the top. It was solid.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. We go backstage to where Chandler Park finds Joseph and tell him he's going to follow his footsteps into the wrestling business, and Joseph, of course, tries to talk him out of it, but Chandler wants to prove that the Parks are fighters. I'm all for that. I like Ethan Page. He's really, really great at this part, and he's good enough in the ring to where I don't think he's really going to piss a lot of people off. So
Yeah. Where's Ethan Page from?
So Ethan Page has done work in Evolve. He's done work in Alpha One. He's he's one of the bigger names out of the Canadian independent scene to sort of make it down here.
Okay, I know the name. Haven't really followed him, but I do know the name. So that was my curiosity is how Canadian is he? And he's very Canadian, so that means that he sticks around. Yeah. And I'm proud of him. I really didn't catch his accent coming out too much in that promo. You know, because it was kind of funny the whole time I was watching him. Like, this Canadian guy, he's probably going to say something, and it's going to make us not believe that he's the brother of Joseph Park, right? But no, he did a good job. He never booted it, you know, or anything like that. So good job on him.
I didn't think about that, but with a talent roster of mostly Canadians in our future, maybe we should start keeping in a boot counter.
Yeah, we probably should, and how sorry everyone is about things. Not making fun of, because I'll be honest with you, Paul. I really kind of dig the Canadian accent. I love the Minnesota accent. It's cool. So everybody else hates the way Dana Brooke talks. I think it's amazing. So
I don't mind it. I've talked to several people visiting from Canada before, and I mean, when they say sorry to your face, you don't really laugh, but when you watch it on TV, you're like, ha, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. I know. I do want to learn it. I do. So. I'm still working. I need to get Liz to teach me New Yorker.
Oh, man. When she gets real mad, too, it just leaps out. It's wonderful.
We got Miss Enzo on the line.
Excuse me. So we get highlights of EC3 and Matt Seidel's match last week for the Grand Championship. Somehow, in 3 weeks, Gary, they're going to have a triple threat for this belt, adding Falaba to the conversation there. Okay. That just seems to... Maybe we're getting closer to changing what the Grand Championship is going to be about, but trying to do rounds with 3 people, I don't know.
I hate it.
Moving on.
Moving on. I mean, I'll say this. The best part about the whole process is Falaba. I don't know what it is about Falaba, but, you know, he's fun, but I think it's just because he amazes me with his size. So
that's fair.
Yeah. I still want to go to a buffet with him, by the way. It'd be a lot of fun.
It is a pleasure to watch people do work at a buffet sometimes. Like, how are you doing this? Like, I stopped 3 plates ago.
Yeah, I know, right? It just seemed to keep going. I'm like, oh, man, that's happened.
We move on. James Storm and Moose come out and call out American Top Team. This goes on for a long time, and basically I didn't do a lot of caring at all during this. However, you do have James Storm challenge Dan Lambert to a match and puts his career on the line. You have KM come out here, too, to keep all that going. I just don't care, Gary. I don't care at all.
Here's my thing. I honestly really don't have a lot of care myself. I'm not going to pretend I do. But then what I will say is, I did expect Moose to have a little bit more passion, and I just felt like he was reading the script. Moose, you got to work on that. I don't know. Maybe it's the football player side of him. It felt like I was watching him post game and just talking about the game. It kind of, I don't know. Just didn't feel it. James Storm did his normal thing. No problem there, per se. Lambert, I mean, hey, if there's anything you can't say is he's not bad at, doing the whole cutting promos and all that. I think he's actually fine at it. I think the guy knows how to, talk. I think he knows how to promote, and he's doing just that, doing a great job of it. So I really didn't hate that part of it, to be honest with you. I think this all gets the job done. KM coming out, to me, needed to be done because, well, how many times can you watch him beat somebody at backstage? So,
right.
I'm not saying I care about this, but this was better than it probably should have been.
I think that's fair. I agree with you on the Lambert part. Moose and Lashley just sort of trade barbs, and that's really about it. This is mainly about James Storm, and obviously we all know where this is going to go when we come back to Impact in 3 weeks, since they won't do any episodes for the rest of this year. And KM comes out to sort of, I guess, try to get a spot in American Top Team before he gets super kicked, to let Storm stand tall at the end after attacking Lambert. So, it is what it is here. I'm not at all invested in this anymore. I'm ready for this to be done and to be gone and to go away. So
yeah, I am right there with you. Yeah, AT&T needs to be in the past.
Yeah, it's true. So that brings us to what we've been waiting for, I guess, all evening. The Knockouts title match as Rosemary takes on Laurel Van Ness. Thankfully, they get the long commercial out of the way early, so you get the remainder of the match pretty much uninterrupted. I really enjoyed this. Laurel Van Ness ends up winning after hitting an unprettier. First she uses the referee to sort of dodge out of the way of the mist, and ends up then hitting the unprettier from there. So this was really fun. I can't say. I'm sure we know what happens or what is happening with Laurel's whole situation here, which kind of makes this a bit of a mess that they're going to have to go through, but I love Rosemary. I'll watch Rosemary do anything.
Oh, definitely. And, let's be honest, I think both these ladies put on a good match here. I think there's a reason why other places are looking at them, right? I think that's definitely a given. Yes, a really solid performance from both of them. I really enjoyed it. I think the finish actually made a lot of sense, especially for the fact that, Laurel Van Ness, as crazy as she is, she actually kind of matches up very well against Rosemary because of that, So I think that was kind of cool. I think Rosemary going over and getting the victory here would have been nice, but you got to have someone facing off against Allie, and it's too convoluted to have someone who was just partnering up with Allie to win, and that just doesn't make sense. So yes, Laurel Van Ness against Allie. Now that's one that people are going to want to watch, and I think that's great, and it's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Plus, I don't really know if we ever got a whole ton of payoff from the whole Laurel Van Ness and Allie situation with the wedding, so that might be nice to come back and revisit there too. Yeah,
let's just keep her husband off the whole.
Yeah, we don't need to bring him around anymore.
Please. Yeah.
And then we sort of leave this Lucha Underground style almost. Sami Callihan and Konnan end up meeting out on a park bench and talking about essentially what they want from each other. Konnan wants the tag titles. He wants a match for his guys, and Sami agrees to it. However, when they win, because he doesn't bring up the fact that they could lose, he wants LAX to disband. Konnan says, if you go back on this promise, he starts comparing to a lot of the recent sexual assault cases that have been going on in Hollywood. Weinstein, Cosby, O'Reilly, all these other things. Sami, decides to throw a fireball in Konnan's face after the argument. Conan was thinking this is just business. Well, now Mr. Callahan has made it personal. So, what a sort of a hot way to end the show.
Oh, I get what you did there, Paul. Oh, man. Conan felt that burning sensation, and it was not downstairs. It was upstairs.
It was upstairs, yeah.
So, I don't know which one he'd rather have, but hey. But no. Boy, I could get into trouble with that. No, I mean, I think Conan, and Sam Callahan both did a great job here. I want to say that. And it's okay to end the show this way. This was exciting. This was really in your face. I felt it the entire time. Conan, my God, I mean, the guy he knows this stuff. It's really believable. It felt like I was watching Netflix.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. It really did. It felt like I was watching Netflix, and that's what I think I loved about it. These two guys, very realistic. They didn't, blow a bunch of smoke up your butt about random other things. It was just really about their feud, about what they were going to do to each other, and just really, really good. So, if to me you really didn't find anything else on the show, and you found this, you won. So it makes you want to come back next week. I'll be honest with you, Paul. Me and you kind of agree. This show overall was probably one of the better ones we've seen in a while, and we didn't really mind staying the whole time and watching it. And the one thing I'll say is, the first time in a long time, I'm ready for Thursday. I want to see what's going to go on with this. I want to see what else is going to transpire between Sami Callihan and Conan. So that's good stuff for me in my point of view.
Yeah, the best takeaway I can give about this show is that the wrestling was on point the entire evening, in my opinion, which is very helpful. Because most of the time you don't always get the level of match quality on an Impact on a week-to-week basis. So hopefully this is the start of something like that. I also felt like everything was moving forward in a direction I could sort of get behind, and I didn't really have a problem with a lot of choices they made on this show either, which was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we agree on that, totally. And, I think the wrestling on this show matched up with a lot of the wrestling that happened this week. So that's really positive to say you can compare Impact with a lot of other promotions. I'm really, really happy to say that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that wraps up Impact for us. We only have one thing left to do on the show, and that is crown a Superstar of the Week. So we will be right back with that next.
Superstar of the Week.
Take it away, Gary.
Let's start this thing off, Paul, by giving a lot of props and a point over to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth Rollins has a pretty good match with Sheamus over there on Raw this week, and that was good enough to make a list this week that it was filled with a lot of 3-star and up matches. So hats off to Seth.
For sure. 2 points will be given to Laurel Van Ness.
Yeah, Laurel captures the Knockouts Championship this week in the main event, and a very good match with Rosemary. So, I mean, despite the fact that we kind of know where this is going, that she's going to be dropping it in the very near future since she asked for a release from the company, I don't think it sort of takes away from the achievement. So 2 points to Laurel.
I agree, and it's still nice to see she's doing good things.
Yeah.
3 points are given to Aleister Black.
A very enjoyable main event on NXT this week as they took on Adam Cole. Just a lot of great storytelling, a lot of great work involved in that one. So go check it out.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a match I was looking forward to, and it really did its job. So, yeah, there you go. Definitely go check it out for sure. 4 points are given to Cedric Alexander.
What a wonderful second chance qualifier they have for the Cruiserweight Championship this week on Raw. Cedric happened to come out on top, but he was definitely made to look like the star that he is. Lots of great work from everybody involved over there as well. And the Cruiserweights keep getting time on Raw, which is, I think, just what the doctor ordered at this point, because nobody's watching 205. So Cedric getting the 4 points is well deserved.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that match was really high octane, just had a lot of great content, and really proud for Cedric. 5 points, and the person that is crowned Superstar of the Week, Roman Reigns.
You almost feel kind of bad about giving Roman Reigns some recognition, but it's hard to not to when he deserves it. Him and Cesaro put on a dynamite match this week on Raw, and I've said it time and again, I don't have a problem with Roman in the ring. It's the other parts that I do. But he successfully retains the IC title once again in a great match. So if you haven't seen it yet, please do so. It's awesome.
Agreed. And there are probably people commenting on us and saying things like, "Oh my God, these guys are." I don't know which one. I guess you'd say almost marks or something like that. But no, I mean, seriously, they really did a great job together, and Roman Reigns won the match, and so that's why primarily he does get the points. But still, just you cannot deny that the guy put in a lot of effort, a lot of hard work. So I'm not embarrassed at all, and congratulations to Roman. He deserves the points.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, there you go, guys. Well, that concludes our show. We appreciate everybody for joining us. Once again, I mean, lots of great ways to find more content from us. If you like this show, make sure you go ahead and go to W2Mnet.com and, give us some love over there. Make sure you also don't forget to go subscribe, rate, and review over at Wrestling to the Max. Once you do all that, you will definitely be giving us a little help, and also helping yourself, because you no longer have to go look for us. We're right there in your dock whenever you want us, and of course, we are available on the W2M Network, another place where you can go get not only just our show, but you can also get all the other great wrestling podcasts and a lot of other great content from W2Mnet.com and its family. And big love have to be given over to 411mania.com and lastwordonprowrestling.com. Appreciate both sites for helping us out. They're great supporters, and thank them. And yes, we will be looking forward to Final Battle this weekend, which we will be reviewing, I'm sure, on Monday's show, which will be a lot of fun to kind of get down and dirty on what happened this weekend in Final Battle. And we will be doing a full Clash of Champions review show, too. We'll be talking about that. Like I said, the busy weekend, the holidays kind of kick everybody's butt. So we will let you know in a further time. That's why subscribing is a great idea, because as soon as it's out, you will get it. So there you go, guys. Lots of great stuff to look forward to this weekend. Really hope you all have a great and safe time. Until the next time we meet up, I am Gary Vaughan for Sean Garmer and Paul Leazar. We'll catch you down the road.
Have a good one, guys.
The previous podcast has been an original W2Mnet.com production. For more great content like this, go to W2Mnet.com for the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports. From our family to yours, happy holidays and a Merry Christmas.